Welcome back to another video. Before we jump into the actual video, just want to throw a statement out there of apologies because I didn't realize it until my editor brought it up. The framing of this is horrible, and this has been kind of a reoccurring issue with some of my repair videos. I think it's because, especially lately, I've been working on so many repairs and not making them videos that I'm not fully aware of the framing all the time. So it's something that I'll be more conscious of in the future. There's some information there, hopefully. If you have any questions or issues, comment them down below. But I'm just hoping to get ahead of this and say, hey, sorry. At the very least, I hope it's a semi-entertaining or enjoyable viewing experience. I'll have the editor review the footage for the part 2 that I was going to make. We'll see if it's anything worth really making, but if not, I will do more repair videos in the future with better framing. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But thank you for watching. Appreciate it as always. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and enjoy. All right, what is up? Welcome back to channel. So the desk is a little messy. It's not too bad. It's, doable. It's this way because I was working on some stuff, and this next camera is one of the grosser ones I've seen in some time. This came in from a viewer, so I thought I'd make a video about it. But it is this Spotmatic, and it's seen better days, to say the least. Let's just crack into it. So for starters, I don't know how these things occur. I never really get to see like a before and after. I just have to deal with like the aftermath, which is, fine. There's what appears to be some scratching. What this looks like to me is that it was dragged through a cornfield like 20 years ago, and then left in what I can only assume is like one of those basements where it's like full of old antiques and stuff, but not like the antiques that you'd find on like Antiques Roadshow or like any of those things where like, oh, there's like some treasures, but like a basement where it's just like tetanus and nightmares, That's kind of what this camera reminds me of. So I feel like it deserves better, and I want to, do that for the camera and for the customer. I think at this stage, I'm probably just going to end up removing the top, and from there I can do a bit better job. The other thing is the hinge here is like completely rusted. So typically when you open this, there's a little bit more movement. But this is like, it is quite literally a Herculean feat to get that open. So that's cool. Oh, that looks like diarrhea. Okay, so I'll yoink the bottom off here. Not going to use that because that'll probably break. And this is by no means an indictment on the person who sent it in. I've seen way worse cameras, and it happens. I feel like I have a few cameras that kind of look like this. That, I mean, granted, I did buy in this condition, so it's kind of on me. I thought, what the hey, probably about time to make another Spotmatic repair video. So here we are. I'm going to pull the bottom plate off here just to see where we're at with the contact. The inside of the battery compartment here, it looks like somebody had some explosive diarrhea, so I'm hoping that that's kind of consolidated to that area of the camera, not the rest. Oh yeah, that's crisp on there. So somebody, I think, wiped with this. There's a lot of signs of moisture. So I think my basement cornfield prediction is kind of sounding to be a little bit more true than I want it to be. I don't like being right about these things, but it would appear as though I am. The contact here also looks like it's seen better days. Like, Jesus Christ. That's about as bad as I've seen one of those. So we'll get that cleared off. Surprisingly, the camera fires, which is nice. You can hear, though, how dry it is. And upon looking at the... Oh! I did not see that. That's... You know, that's pretty special. Wow. I can't wait to take the top off of this thing. I genuinely am thrilled about that prospect. The back is also really rusty, too, which that's always a special thing. I just completely lost my train of thought. The shutter's really dry. The camera overall is in not great shape, but that'll just make the before and afters all that much more impressive. I also foolishly just rubbed my eye, so I'm going to probably go, you know, what is it, like in the science classes and stuff, and they got like those washing station for your eyes. That always freaked me out because ever since I was a kid, just never liked the idea of like eye drops or really anything going in my eyes. But anyway, I need one of those, I think. That was the overall point there. And I'm saying that, but I don't think I actually need one of those. Just more of a way to pass the time. Every time I find something else on this camera, it is more and more disgusting. I mean, this is... Oh. Ugh. Brother, ugh. What are we doing here? Oh my god. Frame counter is not resetting, which I don't think I've ever seen a Spotmatic with the frame counter that doesn't reset, so always nice to have these firsts. And I suspect I know why. I don't want to be right about it, but I feel like I am, because again, unfortunately, I tend to be kind of right about these things, but that's okay. In my efforts of trying to become some kind of like Pentax sponsored person, or at least at the very least get my hands on one of the new Pentax cameras, I would hope that things like this, you know, the effort I've put into resuscitating and reviving so many of their cameras, I'd like to think that that goes into some kind of consideration, you know, these efforts that I'm putting in. Probably not, but you know, let me hope, let me believe. There's also the aforementioned, or failed to mention, the time constraint that exists here, because I've got some bread in the oven. I'm gonna have to go take the lid off of that in a minute. Lots to do today. Oh, the top is just probably not going to come off. Ooh, yeah. Ooh. Yeah, this is horrible. This is horrible and I hate it. I feel like I'm going to get a disease. So that's pretty sweet. Let's see. I might have to hit this with something to kind of rub it down a bit. I've never seen that before. It's hard to say, because this is kind of an older model from ones that I feel like I'm used to working on. But there's some stuff in here that I don't think... I'm hesitant to say someone's been here before, but I mean, if that's the case, they did a shit job. I mean, they did a good job in the fact that it still kind of works as a camera, but I mean, this alone is horrendous. I have half a mind to just put new leather on this because it's lifting. Like, the leather is so far gone, it's lifting. And it's shrinking. And I just don't know about it, honestly. Honest to goodness, not too sure. This is gnarly, is what it is. So, let's see. Just having the time of our lives. I was going to try to yoink the door off here, just because I feel like that will simplify it, and then maybe I'll be able to get some of that rust off of there. And also continue to clean it. Maybe get the hinge working properly. Part of me is thinking it might just make sense to do new leather, because this is kind of shrunk. I think by virtue of corn exposure and or the basement theory, or a combination of both. Wow, that is in there. Holy shit. I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, hey, Pentax, here's a guy that's really putting in a lot of effort to keeping these cameras be semi-usable. Try to loosen them up, but they also might just stay in there forever. Who's to say? The leather here is a lot stickier than I want it to be. Like, it's actually unsettling how sticky it is, but I do need to remove it. Because something I also noticed was the self-timer was like partially engaged, and I was able to free up the release button on it. Awesome. That's never happened to me before, where it just breaks off. I think someone's been in here before. I really do. With all the evidence being the irregular glue pattern, the stickiness of the leather, the strange things, I think someone's been in here before. They did a terrible job, but, you know, to each their own. Anyway, Spotmatics. This is me working on one. I really want to do more Spotmatic videos so I can get rid of the old Spotmatic video, because I was kind of a moron in that. For whatever reason, I still get comments on it. Like, people are still watching it, and I would like to get rid of it. So, this might replace the old Spotmatic video. Son of a bitch. I'll do my best to make it as informative as possible. I'm gonna yoink the front off here. Gonna pull. There's this little like coupling thing for the self-timer. It's on this side, which is good to know. This, as I was mentioning, was very stiff, so I'm gonna try to work that out a little bit. Oh, it's actually moving just fine now. Okay, that's good. So basically this is your release button, and you want to make sure that it actually moves, and this one is, so that's fantastic. The mechanism here is a little bit gnarly, so might want to yoink that out. Just these two screws here. And this will allow better access for the curtain spools. And as the age-old theory proposes, this would be the easiest way to get as much of a hot pocket in the camera as possible. There's these 4-5 washers for each of the holes here, so I'm going to yoink those because inevitably they will fall out of place. That one already has. That's this. Look at this. This is like, it looks like bird shit. You know, like when a bird shits on your car and it dries in the sun. That's what this looks like to me. I love working on Spotmatics, though. I genuinely do. It's just every now and then. I mean, like, what the f*** is this shit? This is preposterous. This is so gross. But, again, this will just make the before and after all that much better. Holy, this is just filthy. Okay. But it's fine. That's all good. That's fine. It's great. Grand. I've yet to look through the prism because I don't want to catch some kind of disease. But the prism doesn't look too bad, which is nice. Oh, man. Okay. It's still very rusty. Let me hit this again with a little bit of the... Alright, and then I'm going to grab these while I'm thinking about it and move onto the body. The other one that I'm missing is already on the front plate here, so I'll just leave that there, obviously. We'll move the mirror box here so we can access the rest of the camera, particularly the curtain spools here, because as I mentioned previously, they're very, very dry. And I'd imagine that the curtain timing is nowhere near where it needs to be. Got a bunch of garbage accumulating and a bunch of other shit happening. Everything is so goddamn gross. These are for the side. This is for a different thing. So there's 2 in the back and then 2 in the bottom. The bright side is, outside of the back door screws, everything else seems to be relatively easy to get in and out, which is nice. And honestly, I don't know if I necessarily need to take the back door off. I would just prefer to try to either swap it out and or... Oh, man. Oh, brother, ew. Do something different there, because it's definitely seen better days, and might be worth it to try to get a new back door on there. The other points of concern would be the viewfinder is not in a great space. Then black is on the back, yellow's on the side. There we are, got that removed. Now we're at the meat and potatoes of it. So that dry sound is obviously not good. What we're gonna do while we're here is quickly put the shutter speed selector dial on there just so we kind of can go through the different shutter speeds and whatnot. Nice, really glad that that just happened. Super stoked about it. That also came off. That's fantastic. Really batting 1,000 today here, folks. It was just the most captivating fucking commentary of all time. I'm telling you, I don't know if this is gonna do anything to sway Pentax's favor in me as a content creator slash repair person, but I hope it does. I hope it moves the needle. Please don't make this for nothing. Just kidding. I do this happily all the time because I think at the end of the day, just deep-rooted masochism, really. Not bad, honestly. Not bad. Let me see. Get this. So, based on previous videos, but the Spotmatic, the K1000 are essentially the same systems. They've got the timing escapement here at the base of the camera, and there's this rod that runs along the side here, and it serves as kind of a clutch shift mechanism for the slower speeds. So you're basically selecting different speeds, and then it cycles through to the escapement. So the curtains are going to need to be retimed, which is fairly doable. And but from here, essentially what we can do is really clean out the rest of the camera as a whole. I'm going to set this aside for now. I'm going to look at the mirror box here. Internally, it's not looking too bad. There was no real issues with the mirror travel system. It seemed to be working just fine. It wasn't interrupting the shutter at all. This is going to need a lot of help and support. So I guess let's get started on this now that all the pieces are off. So we're going to run into a few issues with general cleaning of this. There's going to be some amount of buildup and rust that's just going to kind of come off of the camera. And there's really not much that can be done about that. Once it kind of embeds itself into the... that is just awesome. That is so sweet. Once it kind of embeds itself into the paint and starts coming off, that's just how it's going to be, unfortunately. Man, what are we even doing? This is so gnarly. Holy shit. I'm not really sure if vinegar is going to cut it, to be honest. This is kind of beyond, I think, the cleaning power of vinegar. I think I think alcohol is going to have to be the way to go. This is just like otherworld levels of gunk and grossness in here. I think that's better. It's hard to say. I think I'm just so... I mean, what the fuck are we doing here? This is just... This is like some kind of... You know, those the fear that if so much of the ice caps melt and unearth prehistoric creatures, that we're gonna get all of those diseases and stuff, and we don't have the antibodies for them and whatever. That's how this camera makes me feel. This is some time capsule of some past contagion that I'm unleashing. This is ground zero. This is the next Wuhan right here. This camera. This is so nasty. I am just utterly shocked because it's not from Florida. This is usually a Floridian thing, you know. I'm used to seeing stuff like this often, actually. but from Florida or from, like, you know, Louisiana or wherever. And, you know, if you live there, this is not a gripe on you at all. I'm sure you have a reason for living there, but, you know, I mean, half the year the state's flooding because, you know, living in the Gulf and below sea level, these things happen. This is a worry, though, because rust itself is kind of etching into... And, you know, the unfortunate thing, too, about the placement of this is it's not even, like, a cool patina thing. It's just kind of like, oh, this just looks like shit, so that sucks. But what happens, or what I presume happens, is any level of buildup around this viewfinder, as you can see there's kind of some signs of it here, it accumulates, and it's like this deep crevice. It has nowhere to go, nowhere to drain out to, and over time it just kind of collects. Because when you sit this here, moisture and stuff just accumulates in these areas. And that's how it happens. It's like these little nooks and crannies and stuff you got to be worried about. So I'm wondering kind of how it was stored. All right, so let's see. We got some squealing going on up here, so I'm just going to hit this with a drop of Zagun oil to kind of lubricate that up in there, and then that right there. Nothing crazy, it's just to kind of keep this smooth and moving. You can hear it, or I guess you can not hear how squealing it is, because it's very smooth, which is nice to see. Other points that we want to try to lubricate, we have just a drop of oil right in, or drop of lubrication right in there. The other big thing that I wanted to touch on was the curtain itself. Obviously, it has seen some better days. So we're going to first apply oh yeah. Yeah, this is just a nice little vinegar dilution there. I just kind of want to clean it out a little bit. I noticed that there was some mold buildup, and you can even see it right here a little bit on the back. So I'll just give that a little swathing. I was talking to my grandma years ago, and I was just like, she's like, oh, how's the camera stuff going? I was like, I'm having some issues, like a lot of mold buildup, and usually at that time I was just using the standard, you know, alcohol, lighter fluid combos. And she's like, oh, have you tried vinegar? I was like, no. And she's like, yeah, we used to use that to, like, you know, anytime there was like mold on things, like windows and whatnot, we'd use vinegar. I was like, okay. So I tried that, and it, for the most part, works fairly well. And then lo and behold, I work at a camera shop, and that's what they use. So my grandma's ahead of the curve there. You'll notice a lot of times, like, there will be mold that kind of collects on and grows on the curtain here, and then also that will translate to the film back. So if one has it, likely the other one does, and I just always like to kind of give that a healthy cleaning there. Let's see. And I mean, there's kind of a night and day difference there. Let me pop that out. I mean, that's, you know, this isn't all mold necessarily, but definitely this curtain has seen some better days. And something like alcohol can sometimes dry it out too much, lighter fluid as well. But diluted white vinegar, I feel like, is a lot less harmful to it. I've not had any issues with it in the past, but that's just me. All right, I'm gonna let that chill now for a bit. I'm try to get this freed up as well. I definitely think this just needs to be hit with some heat at this point, but I also don't know if that's necessarily gonna do anything. I think I got it. Holy shit. Oh boy. What a conquest of the ages that was. Oh man. Let's see how bad this is. Yep, that. Oh my god. Ew, brother, ew. Yeah, that's. This has seen better days, without a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, this has seen better days. So, I don't really know what the takeaway is at this point. Other than if you think you have a camera that's like in some kind of swamp situation, just go ahead and send it on in to me, because as you can clearly tell, there's nothing in this world I love more than really just you know, resuscitating lost causes. It's kind of my thing. It's my skill. You know, we think about all the different things that we're talented at, and mine happens to be resurrecting garbage. So that's marketable. It's like the dumpster fire of a camera in here, though. It's fucking nasty as shit. Jesus Christ. I think what we'll probably do is I'm going to cap this off here, and I'll make this like the part 1, and then I'll put a part 2 up later, and that'll be like the reassembly and all the electrical stuff, and I'll try to put that out within a week or so. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to do today, was just get this put together a little bit. I've got some of the general lubrication stuff done. I need to work on tightening up one of the curtains. Like I said, 1000 is just non-existent right now. And once I get that cleaned out and do the timing of the curtains, go from there. Yeah, this is awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that'll do it for now. Thank you for watching this video. I hope I kept most of it in frame. And if not, feel free to comment your dismay down below, and I will apologize and do better next time. But that's all for today's video. We kind of covered the basics. I think this looks, well, it looks different. You know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it as always. Like if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. And stay tuned for the next video. Appreciate it as always. Catch you on the next one.